Hey, welcome to the Music Business Podcast. I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle, and this is where I'm going to teach you how to be a music business baddie. And, we spend so much time talking about marketing, and it just is so important. So today we're going to be getting to, some of the marketing things. I had a meeting with one of my students, and we just, we went like double the time because I just so got into the granular on marketing, why it matters and how we kind of overcome this within ourselves. So anyway, hi guys in the chat. How's everyone doing? Where are you checking in from and what time is it? Roll call. I'm making up new segments as we go. Roll call. What time is it? Where are you checking in from? How you doing? All right, let's go on over here. So as you guys know, we have the new setup. Hello. Yay, glad to see everyone. Here we go. Good evening. Hi, Dave. Good to see ya. Phoenix, 5 p.m. Yes. 8 p.m. Texas, 6 p.m. Utah. Very nice. So I'm kind of thinking of like what's up, Paul? So I'm kind of thinking that I want to almost turn the show into like a school for real life, you know what I'm saying? Because it's the top music attorney, music business school. What we teach is how to get you to six figures and make you a badass in everything that you do within the music business, right? And so, as we kind of have the different segments, we talk about what's going on in music business news, entertainment news, we do our artist teachings. And so I'm like, wouldn't it be fun if we kind of made these in, like drama club or something, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we're in the drama club segment, but really that's where we're going to talk about what's going on in the news. What do you guys think about that? Hey, Los Angeles, very nice. Question, is it best to get your record label if you just are getting started in music? All right, so, my whole spiel on this is that I think you need to become a record label, right? Get a record label right away. Okay, so I don't care what stage you're at, because part of being successful in the music business is that you are treating yourself like a music business, right? You've heard a lot of successful people, they all say the same thing. They go, I had to kind of change my whole thought process right away, and I had to become the person I wanted to be. I wanted to be a millionaire, and so I had to think like a millionaire. I had to act like a millionaire. I go to the gym. I wake up at a certain time. I do all of that as a millionaire right away before you're the millionaire, right? You have to act like it before you come in. So when it, comes to starting your label, you have to learn how to think like a label. So you do that right away, from forming an LLC to making sure you're registering your copyrights, making sure that you are building a team, that you're only bringing a team on when, it makes sense, that you have contractor agreements with the team. So really building out a music business is becoming a record label, right? And that's just how I call it. But at the end of the day, even if you don't want to sign artists or really be a record label, become a record label. Because all they do is they focus on how do we do the creative thing, right? How do we make you a big star? And how do we make money? And that's the piece that a lot of creatives seem to miss, because they're like, I just want to make my music and do my thing. And then they don't focus on the business aspect. So, good question. Hey, South Jersey. It's still snowing. Yeah, you got your picture. You're looking like you're cozy. Hello, South Africa. What's up, Robert? All right, perfect. All right, so you know me, I got an intro. We're gonna bring in that Orko later in the show. I'm so excited that you guys are here, and I'm so excited for this time. It is 5 p.m. PST. And this is what we're going to be doing for a hot minute, because that's what I want to do. We have the new setup. In the comments, let me know what you think. Are you digging it? Do you get the feels? And look, we even added books. Do you see my books? Hey, getting fancy up in here. All right, so I'm going to run the intro, and then I'll be back. We're going to get into all the things, and yeah, I'm going to drink some tea. Hi guys, I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected.
Let's go.
Hey, all right, so we're readjusting the camera. Again, it's not an earthquake, people. We're in Arizona, so we're good. Dave has a question on Facebook. Dave asks, as an independent artist, can I do that as well? LLC, label, etc. Yes, and you absolutely should. For me, it's not even like, oh, maybe I should. No, like this is literally the path that you have to go on when you are doing your thing. And even if you never sign other artists, that's not part of the vision, right? We think of other big, independent artists like Hobson, right? So he is his own label and he just signed himself. He's not doing anything else for anybody else. But you do it because by becoming like an LLC, you're literally protecting yourself legally. So if, someone sues you, they are suing the company, not you. And it's such a simple step, but it's something that you got to do. So you set the LLC, use the LLC when you are doing contracts, right? And then as you kind of build your career out, and, we'll talk about it probably on the show a little bit, but making money is very closely tied with what you do with your branding and marketing. And a lot of times, we think of this stuff as like vanity metrics and we get turned off to this whole idea of becoming an influencer. And I don't want to post vanity pictures and it's so stupid, this and that. But as soon as you become a business person, right? So AKA like a record label, now all of a sudden you see the job of kind of posting on social media as closely connected to any success that you're going to have. All right, if you're selling just your music, you're selling services, you're selling wigs, like whatever you were doing, even for like your side hustle as just someone in the music business. So great question. Steven, how you doing? Uh-oh, John misses the blue light. Hello. What does your username say? Raja Music. I love it. Amazing. Thank you for being here. All right, Mastermind has a question. What do you got for me? What does one need in order to own the beat? It's gray area. Okay, well, let's talk about it. I had someone contact my office to review a beat license agreement. So, this kind of goes to that. So when it comes to owning it, the good news is if you made it, you own it, right? So under copyright law, you have automatic copyright as soon as you make the thing. And the question usually comes up because we are licensing beats, we are buying beats from people. And so that rule that I just told you about with copyright carries. If someone else made the beat, they own it until you get a contract in writing saying that they're going to assign the rights to you. So it's actually not gray area unless you haven't just gotten something in writing, because what trumps everything else? Okay, so we have these great rules in copyright and stuff happens automatically, but what trumps everything else is when you get a piece of paper, right? I had a piece of paper ready for the prop. You get a piece of paper and it says who owns it. It's really that simple. So, in the many things that I've put out, from free stuff that I sell to like my book, which I'm not even promoting anymore, or not right now, but to when you actually work directly with me, part of everything that I'm going to do is obviously like hard teaching. I got to get it so that you guys know how to act like real music businesses, be real music businesses, and get yourselves to six figures. But guess what? You got to have contracts to do that. So to the extent you're like doing, a deal, a song with someone else, and you're like, well, I'm supposed to own it. Make sure you get that in writing. Please protect yourself. Love the commercial. Thank you. You know what? I was kind of thinking as I'm, possibly redoing the show a little bit, having different segments. I was like, it's a good little intro. But I was like, maybe it's time for a new one. I don't know, but I'm glad you like it. All right. Follow-up question. Does the LLC need to be multi-member in order to get good business funding such as credit? Okay, interesting question. So for an LLC, it can be it's a sole proprietorship. I don't want to complicate this, but basically there can be one member, no big deal. If there are multiple members, no big deal. And in fact, having multiple members, we see that a lot with like bands, right? Or if you're in like a rap group or something. But if you're part of a collective, you go and register an LLC with multiple members so that everyone owns, right, the group, the band, right? So it'd be like the trademark, the music. So it's a way to like clean up everything so that if you are in a group of people and there's like the four of you that started it, and then you got to throw the drummer out and you get a new person in, and that new person's not supposed to be, getting ownership of music, you clear it up by actually registering an LLC. Now, your question was as far as like business funding and credit and things like that. I had a client who had to go get like a $600,000 loan. And, there's a couple of them in the group. A couple of them had great credit. So they were able to get the actual loan. And the person with the crappy credit couldn't get the loan. So, I mean, if you got bad credit, having someone in the group with good credit is a good thing. All right, Richard, what's up over on LinkedIn? How do you get songs to publishers? Well, I mean, it depends. Do you want to sign with a publisher? Right? Is it that you want to submit to someone just to consider, in which case send them an email? Now, obviously, do a little more due diligence than just that. Research, find a publisher you might want to work with, put together a very short, concise email. Don't just send them like a million files in a Dropbox link. But, a lot of it's just kind of doing your due diligence first. These people don't just magically appear, or if you do find them, we don't want to just like harass people. We want them to like us and to listen to our stuff and take us seriously. And then if you do want to sign with a publisher, great. I have a video on the channel if you want to check out all about whether you need a publisher and why I think in a lot of cases you don't, and you can be your own publisher. You can search that. Eric, what's up? Yeah, for those of you who are not over on Top Music Attorney YouTube, if you need additional content and deep dives, I got you for days, literally. So please be sure to check that out. All right, sorry, I lost the comment. Let me go back. All right, I have the hardest time staying consistent with social media lately. It's been hard putting myself out there out of nowhere. What can I do to get motivated? Eric, thank you very much for asking this. And in fact, I just went on such a deep dive today with someone about this, and it's just, from my own experience of overcoming my own kind of shit to just do it, to get myself motivated to actually start posting. And then after doing a lot of it and it not really going so great, but getting into the habit, right? The first layer of being able to do something new is to just overcome ourselves, right? And the doubts that we have, and we talk ourselves out of doing it because a lot of us have people in mind that we think about when we post. And before we post something, if it was silly, if it made us vulnerable, if it was to this or to that, we might think of those people, whether it's our parents or our friends or our exes or anything. And so we'll think about those people before we post and literally make judgment calls of like, I'm not going to post that today because someone's going to see it and they're going to judge me. So we have this whole conversation in our heads and we literally talk ourselves out of doing the thing that we need to do to actually grow our careers, because no one watching this right now who has any kind of sense about the music business, who wants to be successful, would ever say, I don't need to post on social media to be successful. Like, if you believe that, we got work to do, honey. Okay? You have to be posting, but it's really tough. It's one thing to say it, it's another to do it. So Eric, with you, staying consistent, I think that taking out the pain points is one kind of quick tip I can give you. For me, I know there are days I absolutely don't want to post anything. I don't want to make anything. I feel horrible. I hate life. Like, that's just how it is. So since I know that about myself, then I'm going to take other days, right? And I'll do bulk creation. I'll take a few hours. I'm going to do all the things so they're freaking there. And then, and then I'll schedule it. And then it's like all done, for a couple of days. So I don't have to bother about it because I'm human. So anyway, really good question. We're actually going to talk about this a lot more later in the show as far as like mindset and literally when it comes to social media, because I'm just finding that like for me, as an actual practitioner, as an artist myself, as even someone who does a ton of social media for what I do as a lawyer, I have a lot of experience in this area. And the fact that I was able to grow my, platforms across all social media platforms for my two brands to like, 500,000 followers in just a few years. Hopefully that gives some weight to what I can share. Okay, Steven's doing great. Love that. Travis is back in the mix. What you doing, buddy? Canada. How is everyone doing? Yeah, you gotta check in. For those of you just checking in, where are you checking in from and what time is it? We're doing roll call. Now, I don't usually pull out the gavel, but I kind of feel like for each segment, I need to be like, roll call, where are you checking in from and what time is it? With like an energetic voice. I don't know. You guys got to give me feedback. Or maybe I should need to be like really serious. So you'd be like, she's a serious attorney. Even as I was talking to someone today about the marketing thing, I go, it's funny because, in one respect, I could say, well, I'm a serious, entertainment attorney. I've been doing this for 9 years, and it's so important that people see me in the serious side and they know that I'm really smart and like all this stuff. And I go, if I really believe that to be true, I would be completely paralyzed in posting anything that was silly or otherwise showed me in a light other than just being super serious. And while, to be honest, that's kind of my preference. I'd rather people feared me and thought I was just incredibly serious, but, I do have a different side. So, sometimes and you don't have to show anything, okay? You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. And that's the great thing about like our social media. But just something to keep in mind. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna keep going. Richard on LinkedIn. Hey, do you listen to websites to check out new music from songwriters? If so, what's the process? Yes, I do, in fact. So we actually do like artists. We're constantly like scouting for different artists that I can work with and just to see, what you're doing because I need to find, when it comes to like my personal time, I only have like so much. So if I'm going to work with someone, they got to put in the work and they got to really want it and be hungry. And like, especially if they've like checked out some of my stuff and they know my work ethic and what I expect and stuff like that. So in any case, if you are interested, you can DM me on Top Music Attorney on Instagram and just tell me a little bit about what you do. Send me some stuff and I'll check it out. Hello, Planet Thurpo. I said it with a Thurpo. Hope that's okay. Jonathan. Jonathan has a question. What's up, Jonathan, on YouTube? My course. What's your course help with the LLC or does it? Yes. So part of like anytime I work with someone and I do have a music business course, but when I work with anyone in any capacity, the first step or one of the first steps we're always going to do is to make sure just to set up an LLC for you because again, it's this liability shield. Think of it as a nice warm little bubble. And the bubble is to protect you from something bad that happens and then you get sued. And what happens is that you now have the LLC, which insulates you so that they don't come after you personally. And it really makes a big difference because the larger you get, when you actually have stuff happening, that's not the time that we should be trying to figure out the contracts and trying to figure out the LLC. Because now you have people who, there's like a, what do you call it? I don't know. I can't think of the word. I can't think of the word. I don't know. There's a target. That's the word. So there's a target on your back. And so what we want to do is prepare you from the ground floor up. So when you jump in and you do these steps that, they're not fun, they're not glamorous with your website and your social media and like all this stuff, but you do it so that you're kind of like this powerhouse. And a lot of people just don't take these steps. So that's why we do it together. All right. Do you represent people? I do represent people. I have a law firm. Mastermind. Sorry, guys. I'm going kind of slow. I'm gonna try to catch up. That makes sense. It's an exclusive copyright. That's a little confusing because I thought buying exclusive meant I owned it. Oh, okay. Yeah. So make sure you actually review if you buy a song. Often with these agreements, they call them exclusive license agreements. So what it actually says is that you are supposed to have the exclusive right to use it, but typically the producer's not actually giving you ownership, which I think is stupid because if you get to only use it forever, which is hopefully what it says, then you should just have ownership. But a lot of time in these agreements, they'll be like, you can use it for like 10 years and then the artists don't catch that. And so after 10 years, the producer is going to come back around knocking on your door and be like, hey, P.S., if you want to keep, if your song was a hit or something, if you want to keep using it, you got to pay me some monies. All right, so for those of you who are not on YouTube, make sure you come over on Top Music Attorney YouTube. This is definitely a good place that you can get lots of free advice or tips, I should say. So come over to Top Music Attorney YouTube. All right, what's up, Tommy on YouTube? Distractions. Dun, dun, dun. Usually it's the key to talking yourself out of it, too. Absolutely. I will talk about this later, but I have some of these techniques, even for myself, right? I'm human. And I have found that these techniques to deal with some of my negative thoughts, which ultimately all they do is slow me down, right? I'm hustling, I'm building stuff, and literally the only person in this world that can slow me down is me. And that includes if I'm dealing with people on the outside, whether I decide to allow them to bother me, to slow me down, is still my decision. So that's a pretty powerful thing, right? When you are fully in control of kind of your experience and your reality. So with that being said, that means you have to deal with your internal 3D reality that's in your brain all day, every day, and sometimes just general distractions can really slow you down. All right. Anyway, sorry guys, I'm going off here. So if you are just checking in, where are you checking in from? What time is it? Thank you very much, Steven. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do. Hey, what's up, Steve? Nice to see you. 6 something, love it. John likes the gavel. Miss Krystle, the judge, stop it. Ugh. Stop it right now. You know, I think like when I was deciding to go to law school, I was like, I made a promise to myself because, you know, I've always been a musician, an artist, and I was just like, ugh, it'd be like the worst thing to become an attorney. And again, it was just perception of attorneys are really boring. I don't want to be that, you know, and obviously I've reframed my thinking on that just a tad. But when you say Miss Krystle the judge, I have the same feeling. Ugh, that'd be terrible. All right, we got more questions. So I'll tell you what, leave your follow-up questions that you have, and I'm gonna hit that on the next round. Let me jump in. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes on like a solid tip that you guys can take home. How are we sounding? Are we sounding good? Are we looking good? So before I start this, I want to make sure the connection's working. And I'm going to talk to you about PR companies because a lot of you have questions about PR companies and you contact me and you're like, hey, like, can you tell me a great PR company? This is all I need. They're going to make me big stars. So I have some thoughts that I'm going to share so I can answer all of this at once and we can all love it. All right. So let me pull this up. 1 second. All right, here we go. Why I don't work with PR companies. So, you know, what's a PR company? We're talking about public relations. And so there are obviously advantages and disadvantages to working with a PR company. Now, just very general, what does a PR company do? We know that they're going to help you with things like putting together a press release, contacting media, trying to pitch stories to journalists, right, about your release, what's going on. They're going to supposedly help with managing your social media accounts because it's supposed to be everything basically out to the world, right? So what the world sees in relation to your brand, your artistry, all of that, the PR company is supposed to be helping with. But then they're also supposed to be monitoring like the World Wide Web and seeing what's going on, what are the criticisms, they're supposed to be responding to comments. And then, of course, dealing with crisis management. So when something really happens, call your PR rep and get some help. So that's all great, right? So a lot of us think, well, I need the PR company and they're going to really help to elevate the brand. So there are some reasons why you don't want to work with PR companies. And this is also partially from my personal experience. And so let me just share a couple of things. And I hope you guys find this helpful. Please be sure to like the video as we go through if you find any of this helpful. So, you know, number one, let's just talk about cost. You know, when it comes to hiring a PR company, pretty much across the board, they're going to do flat fees. And so on this, you know, lower end, it might be $1,500. On the more higher end, it might be more like $5,000. And that's a lot of money. And what's built into that is just kind of this global promise of all those things I just talked about, right? And so my problem with that is it's not being delineated very well. I need to know exactly what you're doing. What am I paying for? You know, and that's just my thought process because I'm paying for it, right? So, you know, flat fees are common, but the other thing is that a lot of PR companies want to sign you into long-term contracts, which might be as simple as a 3 to 6 month contract. So it locks in the payment. And again, my problem is that if you have not had an opportunity to work with a PR company or this particular PR company that you're speaking with, what if it doesn't go good? And now you're locked into a 3,000, 4,500, you know, just exponential amount of money for a package deal. So as far as cost, that's one of my biggest issues that I have with PR companies because they're asking for a lot upfront from you without being able to really make a guarantee. Now, you can check me on this if you ever do consider working with a PR company and you get their contract. And you'll notice that the contract does not really say anything. right? So just as far as what they're going to do for you, it's like, we'll try to help with blah, 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 blah. But they don't make any promises. And it's kind of understandable why. So that brings me then to the second, right, reason why I don't really work with PR companies. They overpromise and they underdeliver. And, if the problem is that PR companies are going to work with everybody, right? Because they're just service providers. And they're like, well, you need a press release. What do you want? Send me, I'll send some emails on your behalf. I'll help you with your social media. So they'll help you without having any kind of quality control. And so, they're going to overpromise the world and they're going to underdeliver because a lot of times they are relying on their networks and their email lists and all the things that they have built for themselves, which are not genre specific, right? So for the type of music that you're doing, you need something specific to your genre, right? Someone who does, heavy metal rock is not going to be a good fit for the country music media outlet, right? And so when they're just kind of sending these broad distributions to different email lists and all this, I mean, they're just not going to get anything for you. Okay. So for me, that was a problem. And again, I have hired PR companies. So I'm using my actual knowledge. And then obviously I've been representing artists for like 9+ years. So that helps as well. But anyway, this is just common experiences across the board. So, just you'll find that they are not only going to underdeliver, but there really is a lack of control, right? Because you're not putting together the press releases and, even if you have notes, even if they give you the opportunity to review what they're doing or posting for you, you really don't have control over it. Okay. And that's the difference, right? So we talk about like a PR company that we've hired versus someone that works for you. So the lack of control is something pretty big for me because obviously it can make it really difficult to control your image, right? How you're represented. And, for a lot of people, that's a really important thing. And then, the fourth thing that I'll point out as far as why I don't work with PR companies very much anymore is, ethical concerns. So if you have certain things about your brand, right? If you have, maybe a certain religious affiliation or political affiliation, something that is specific to what you're doing, if someone's not being careful, that they can create a really serious conflict or say something on your behalf, right? Because they're going to speak for you. So I've seen some issues come up with this as well. So then taking that all together, these are some of the problems. But, if you want to try a company, I also like to say it this way. If you want to try someone, do it, right? But obviously that's a good amount of money. Even if you tried 1 month at $1,500, where could that $1,500 have gone as far as maybe like ads to something that was working? I mean, just think about that. So alternatively, consider instead of the PR company route, what if in a magical world that you could build for yourself, if you became your own music business, right? AKA become your own record label. What if you hired someone who is trained in PR services, right? So as far as just drafting press releases and reaching out to media, local, national, international, helping with your social media management, I should say. But basically doing all these things and you pay them hourly, right? And so, Fiverr, Upwork, these are contractor websites where you can go and find just incredibly talented people. And you can also find people, if you're posting to your stories and just people who follow you, be like, hey, do you do this thing? So you can find people to work at an hourly rate. So all of a sudden now your $1,500, which just went into the nebulous of the world, and you don't know really how it was implemented, what it paid for, who it paid for. Now you actually have direct oversight because someone works for you. So you get to control the brand, you get to control the image, you get to control everything, including costs. Because then you can say, this is kind of what I want to pay. These are as many hours that I'm looking for you to work. So, for me, as far as getting help on that end, hiring contractors is way more inexpensive, but you get a better end product in my opinion, because you can have someone who's really dedicated to what you're doing, right? You find the applicant that works for you, that fits for you, and that you are just going to be super, super happy with. So I don't work so much with PR companies anymore, but if you do, leave a comment down below. Let me know your experience. And don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you found it helpful. All right, so let's go back now. I hope you guys found that helpful. I saw a question. One sec. So yeah, is anyone hiring PR companies? Do you have some experiences to share? The Real Deal. What a great username. I love that. When are you working on a new album? Hollywood is falling apart. So I guess that technically I'm working on my new cover EP, but then also working on original songs, which I mean, eventually will be an album. So more than anything, I'm trying to get into a better like system and cycle with my team. So we're pumping out new music like once a month, which is a whole other kind of thing. So I'm talking about like PR people. I mean, to become your own business, to build your own thing. So you're not relying on other people and you have full control and you're just like crushing it. In order to do that, it takes time, right? And a lot of people kind of shy away from that investment. It's hard. It's really hard. Okay, let me keep going. Jonathan, I've been doing this for years. Without one and the LLC, and I think it's time to set up the LLC because I'm growing more. That's great. Yeah, and I talked about this as far as the LLC is kind of the baseline thing you gotta do, and you want to do it very early. And you're like, well, I don't really have anything going on right now. Why would I start an LLC? Why wouldn't you start an LLC? You don't want to wait till you're busy. You don't want to wait till you got that song that took off overnight and now you're getting or contacted to do shows or like stuff gets crazy. So the perfect time to work on the hard stuff is when you have downtime. You know what I mean? So if stuff is not really popping off with your your career, then really now is the time to go in, learn what you got to learn, start the thing, start the LLC, get the partnership agreements. I'm trying to find this comment. I can't find it, so if you want to pull it up, you can. It's 5:23 in Phoenix. Hey, if you're looking for artists or to work with someone, you want more info. Oh, love it. Okay, yeah, Dave. Same thing. If you want just to tell me a little bit about what you're doing, and really when it comes to like anyone who wants to work with me, basically it's just like an informal application. Just tell me what you're doing and send me some links, and we'll go from there. You're welcome, Eric. I hope you found that helpful. Thank you, Christopher. Hey. You got two serious questions. Woo! All right, we gotta adjust the glasses. We're adjusting because the seriousness is about to set in. Is it a good idea to be a mobile audio engineer in Arizona with set prices? All right, we'll start with that. I don't even want to know what the second question is. Well, tell me the reason why it's a bad idea. So when it comes to doing any kind of like audio engineering, anything in any state, it's, are you building out so that you're getting word of mouth? Are you, promoting yourself? I mean, as far as being a service provider of any kind, if you're based in Arizona, do it in Arizona. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's more to that question, but generally speaking, I think I'm missing something. So if you're doing it, just make sure you're the best because, you got to rise. The cream rises to the top. I had an attorney in making asking me about this, and as I was kind of talking to him, I'm like, if you move to California and you want to be in that scene, there's like an attorney on every single corner, and they happen to be entertainment attorneys, and they happen to be music attorneys, and they're all the same. And I go, that's cool, you can go compete with all of that, but if you want to stay, for example, in Arizona, and you want to be a big fish here and really make a name for yourself, well, guess what? You can take clients out of California. You can take clients from all over the United States because you get a really good name where you're at. So back to your question, if you're doing your thing, just do it real good, build your brand, build your socials, and be the best. All right, where'd the question go? I need the second piece. All right, hopefully I didn't miss that. Can I get contracts after the song is made with the artist? I have a few older songs that I want to get one with because there's going to be a relaunch of the music. Yeah, so the only thing you need to keep in mind, always get the contract. Okay, so if you, do it after the fact, no problem, just get it done. But let me share one thing, which is, remember I talked about copyright? I'm like, the magical land of copyright. It's great. If you did something with someone else, that means you both have copyright in the song, and the contract that you sign is going to supersede copyright law. Okay, so whatever you agree to in the piece of paper is what controls, right? But what you need to remember is that you need to date the contract when you created the song. So if you, execute the contract like 4 months after you did the song, just make sure you backdate it. Okay, and you do that because it's really important that the assignment of ownership, if you're owning it and the collaborator is just getting paid royalties or something, You just want to make sure that you have it dated for when it was created. So contract and date it for when it was created. Oh, thank you. Life changes. Stop it. I'm gonna get a shirt and it's gonna be top music attorney changed my life. Oh, I appreciate that. Do I work with independent filmmakers? I do. So my law office, I really dedicate obviously like this channel and this whole like top music attorney side of what I do to just music, right? So music law, artists, producers, like everyone in the music field, this is just for you. My actual law firm, which is Delgado Entertainment Law, is entertainment. So I do all the things. I work with filmmakers, I work with writers and painters and dancers and people doing a lot of tech stuff. Can I tell you the amount of clients that are like building AI tech apps right now? Yeah. Oh, stop it. I feel like I'm gonna talk about something naughty here. Yeah, so when I do the music business course, it's just what I had explained earlier. I am teaching you how to become your own record label, not because you necessarily want to be a record label. It's because record labels are the ones that figured it out quicker than everyone else. Okay, so while independent artists and producers and mixers and managers and everyone in between, we're like down here, picking pennies and just trying to figure things out. And record labels, by and large, are doing a lot better. And my question is, why? Have we ever thought about that? And the answer is just because they treat themselves like businesses, right? They go, we want to make money. So how do we utilize the assets, the skills, the resources that we have, the people that we work with? How do we mobilize that to get ourselves to six figures and beyond? And when I kind of asked myself that question, right, after many years of being an independent artist and struggling and doing shows and just doing everything without ever really feeling like I was getting anywhere, because I had like a fan base and it was all cool. But I was just frustrated because I'm like, I don't know, this shit should be popping off by now. I should be making money. So out of that frustration came the determination to figure it out. And even after that, it still took time. But I did figure it out. And then once I'd kind of replicated this model of becoming your own music business, get yourself to six figures, and then I did it again for myself. And after I had done it a couple of times, I started doing it for other people. Because obviously at that point, I'm like an attorney, I can really help people. So, basically to just systemize what I do into like a programs. Because I'm like, it's way too expensive for you to come hire me at my law firm. I'm too busy. But I want to help. So anyway, that's basically what the course is. It's like teaching you, but then also taking you through it. And that's why I've been taking more applications now versus just allowing people in. It's just because I need to make sure that I have the right person, because it's no good for me if like someone comes into the program and they're like, oh, I have to do hard work, or, I have to take time for this every week. You're not a good fit. I need people who are actually going to put in the work, because that was me. I put in the work, but I was doing all the wrong things. So my job now is to take the people who are willing and are doing a lot of hard work and putting in that effort, but they're just kind of lost and they're not putting the pieces together and they're not building. And, so basically I figured out that formula, and that's like my whole mission now. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit like, whatever platform you're on, and you can come join. Obviously, with that being said, obviously there's a lot of like free content that I'm pushing out all the time. So just make sure you follow like Top Music Attorney, either on, the YouTube channel or social media outlets, because that's all free. And you can just learn stuff all day, every day. Okay. So with that all being said, let's hit maybe one more question, and then let's go into the segment. I'll bring that Orko on, and we'll have a little chitty chat. I want to start getting into some music marketing stuff with you guys. I hit up from PR company. Oh, you get hit up in the DMs. Oh, that's interesting. I feel like they're scammers. I want to find a real one, or I need to get better at doing it myself. Yeah, I think with people, because I'm all about like, chatting in the DMs and figuring stuff out, because it's just an easy way to communicate, right? That's fine. But I think when PR companies make big promises, that's kind of my little rule. Like if you're talking to a company and they go, hey, I see that you're a rock act. I have a roster of other rock artists that I represent, and I have contacts at rock magazines, and so they give you a very specific list of how they can specifically help you. Okay, maybe you should give them a shot. But when someone's like, oh my gosh, I could get you, a million, hundred, bajillion views and stream, and they just like make these bullshit promises, when your bullshit meter goes off, trust your gut instinct, right? And I'm not just saying that everyone needs to be, on high alert all the time by everyone. It's okay. There are good people in the industry that you can work with and get help with and all these things, but you also do need to, keep your guard up a little bit and just exercise common sense, right? All right, I'll tell you what, one more comment. Let's see. If your real classes are like this, they must be. Oh, I was like, my classes, yeah. Yes, the real, and we call them student huddles. So basically, I have like two things that I do, and the one is if you're gonna do the full-fledged course with me, I mean, you're invested. You're invested in all the ways in your time, and I need you like sweating every week. You know what I'm saying? So that's like the full course. It's like an 8-week thing. But I also do weekly calls that are they're a little bit like this, except we're chatting. So it's going to be like a small group of people in the music business who are doing like sync licensing or live productions or music production, or they're record label owners. So they're like Zoom video calls. And so we get on, and the reason I started doing these, and like there's, membership and you can be part of it and all that stuff. But the reason I started doing that was because for someone who's not ready to kind of take that leap, that big step to like really invest in becoming their own music business, and for the time and whatever it is, a weekly call for like 30 minutes or 60 minutes or whatever it is a lot more manageable. So it's a good way that we can all just like connect in a private kind of way, and you can ask questions. And so it's cool because like the last one that we did was last night. And, it's funny, one of the students was asking about a very real situation of like, I paid this person and we have this website issue, and like, I literally don't know what to do. And it's cool because we can get into the real like nuanced stuff of the day to day of being in the music business. So in any case, I'm glad you are finding this helpful. So with that all being said, let's go and bring in that Orko so we can have a little chat. Hey.
Hey, shout out to the community. I have been loving this episode. I've been loving all these questions that have been coming in. I'm loving the format of this. Just like keep them coming, and she'll just keep coming, getting to them, because I mean, I think this is great. And this is kind of exactly what the student huddles are, like she was saying, are they're like, except for you'll be on the screen and you'll be actually, where we take time and actually talk about your situation, like she was saying. So they're really cool what we do. But loving the
Yeah, and so you
participation.
guys know, a lot of you do watch the show every week, but I do feel like it's worth saying. So, that Orko, he's the show producer for Top Music Attorney podcast, but he's also my music producer. So, for any of like my Miss Krystle stuff I've released in the last like 8 years, he's produced all of that. So, you guys, just to give you a little context, of what he is, what he does. So, anyway, let's jump over to this. I have a conversation, some things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
There are common mistakes that I see a lot when it comes to people trying to promote their music, and there are three that are at the top of the list that I want to talk about. And, the first one, just to get right into it, is failing to overcome your own doubts. All right, so you need to post. You need to be doing it every day, and it's the only way you're ever going to be able to connect with fans.
Facts.
And we talk about, we want to hire a PR company, we want to hire a marketing company to make us big stars. And I go, at the end of the day, you're hiring these companies and spending all this money so they can get you into a magazine that 50 people might see. Versus if you just posted and maybe you got pushed out and then like 200 people saw you. So I go, but we stop ourselves from doing that because we can't overcome the own doubts that we have in our heads. What do you think?
That's the toughest one, and that's like the hardest thing that artists and musicians are trying to overcome, because now, with social media, everyone has a platform, and it's very intimidating even for me when I see these 13-year-old kids like just killing it on social media, killing it on their, either DJs or producers or whatever, just like destroying, anything that maybe I feel like I've done in the last like couple of years. And it's like, what do I have any business even doing anything? And so
Yeah,
we get into our own
even there,
heads.
right there. What
Yeah.
business do I have? That was the story that you told yourself in that moment. So, the way I'd like to kind of challenge this is I go, When we have these self-defeating thoughts,
Yeah.
in a way, it's almost a way for us that if we give in to them, we go, well, you know what? If I can't, be young and do it like these kids, then it's over for me. What's the point? And so, literally, what ends up happening is that you just don't post, right? Because you just talk yourself out of it. And in a way, that kind of gets you off the hook, right? It's almost our way of protecting ourselves because
Mm,
if we just do that, then we don't have to post anymore because we just gave up. So, in your brain trying to protect you, that's ultimately what's happening with all the negative thoughts, but you have to fight back because, this is the way I say it. Look at where you're at right now with your social media. This is where your social media is going to be at in a year from now, in
right.
5 years from now, in 10 years from now. You will literally never grow
Right.
if you don't overcome the negative thoughts that you have that stop you from doing what you need to do.
Yeah, and I mean, when it's just kind of a how we focus on, we always tend, we can have be in a room full of 99 people telling us how great we are, but we're going to hyper focus on that one person that said that, something kind of negative, and that's what we dwell on. So what I do find helpful in trying to get my motivation when I'm feeling those ways, is, looking at other stuff too. Like, not everybody is amazing at what they do and they're doing well on social media. Not everybody like has like six-pack abs and is just so good looking on social media that have a following. Like, they're of all ages. Everybody has a voice. Just if you just stand behind your content and feel confident in what you're doing, and like that's all that it is. There is literally a niche for every lane. Whatever kind of style music you make, there's an audience for you. It's just about finding them, harnessing them, and the way that you do that is just connecting and just trying to shut all that down.
In fact, let me give you guys a tip that you can take away and implement right away. Okay, so Mel Robbins, she wrote the 5 Second Rule book, which
Mm,
is on Audible. It's great.
yeah.
But let me just synthesize it. It's really this simple. When you catch yourself and you know you got to be making some content, or you have it and you just aren't sure you want to post it because all of a sudden you're questioning it and you're thinking about the people who are going to judge you and they're going to think you're stupid, they're going to think your music sucks, whatever the story is that you're telling yourself, as soon as that happens, I want you to count backwards from five. So you go
Mm,
five, four, three, two, one. And when you get to one, you literally do the thing that you just hesitated on. So if it was posting, you stop your brain and you do it right away because you know that's the thing you have to do. So I really want you to try implementing this. And this is something that I literally do myself because sometimes
yeah.
I get down on myself and I'll like try something new. Like I was trying to dance over the weekend and I haven't done it in a long time. And to be honest, I was tired and I had to set things up because I didn't have the space for it.
Yeah, you
And I
said
was
you
just
got to
like,
do a whole setup.
yeah.
Like, there was a lot
And
of
like
effort, but you pulled the trigger.
100%, and I didn't want to do it, but every step of the way I was starting to talk myself out of it, but I caught it and I did the 5 second rule and I
Mhm.
just did it. And I was like, it doesn't have to be great. I can look stupid, it can go terribly, and if all those things happen, that's okay because I did it. So that's number one. When it comes to the three most common mistakes that I see when it comes to music marketing, number one is failing to overcome your own doubts, okay? And number two is going to be neglecting social media presence. So, what I mean by this is just kind of your frequency, right? So, again, we overly judge and criticize ourselves, so we don't post very frequently. And if we do, we'll be like
Yeah.
one time, right? For the
Yeah.
week, for the month. And that was like all we could muster up the courage or
Right.
energy to do. Well, what happens with that
That could
is
be
that
a
we're not
lot.
showing up. What's that?
I'm like, that could be a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Just even that,
Yes.
you know what I mean? You gotta, like, people like me, you gotta work up. See, I fall more into that camp where if you're struggling, I'm one of those people that definitely can relate, and I feel your pain on that. So go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Number two.
Yeah, so no, no, no. So just when it comes to not if you're not showing up, you're not connecting with fans. And if you have like a new release and you post about it one time and it was kind of a low grade picture with a ton of text on it, didn't have your face, like it just didn't perform very well. A, you shouldn't be surprised, but B, you only reached however many people saw
Right.
that one thing versus if you post once a day, twice a day, you have an opportunity to reach more eyeballs. And it's funny, I was talking to someone the other day and she goes, you know, um, I saw that like 200 people had viewed my video. And she goes, I know that's kind of small for an artist and this and that, but she goes, equally, if 200 people stopped by and watched me perform in person, that'd be so crazy.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's the perspective shift right there. Like, stop judging it and calling it things that it's not,
for
and you
sure.
gotta just show up.
And remember, like, you got to remember, sometimes it's not your content, sometimes it's not your text or your hashtags, which we'll probably talk a little bit about hashtags a little bit later as a bonus. um it's you're going against like meta Instagram algorithms that will just suppress or choke something because it's 5 minutes past the hour. Like, it's not always your fault. I mean, you can look at your content and know if it's good content or not, but sometimes you're just at the mercy of the algorithm. So don't let that get down. Like, nobody liked my post, nobody did whatever. Well, then give them, like she said, give them more opportunities to see them, because you're fighting against the algorithm more than you're fighting against your fans or your,
Yeah.
soon to be public. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, number one, you got to overcome your own insecurities and doubts and get yourself to do it. Use the 5 second rule. Number two, you need to stop neglecting social media. You got to show up. And like I'm telling you, you really got to show up every single day. But
Yep.
the way I kind of, coax people through it, I go, just give yourself, like, even if it's just one time this week, start with that. Then go up to two, then go up to three. So try to actually get yourself to just do it, because that's the hardest part. And once you take out like
Yeah.
the fear and you run towards it, right? What do they call that in it's an anxiety technique so that you flood. It's a flooding technique. So if you're like scared of flying, you need to go up to a really high
Right.
building. You need to scare the shit out of yourself. And then when you realize it's okay, your brain calms down. Anyway, so
Get
just,
over that with
run towards
stories.
it. What's that?
I was just saying, get over that with stories. Get over that fear of stories. Stories are the
Sure.
best way to get yourself in the habit of posting more regular, because you
Yeah.
don't have as much pressure. You know who's actually engaging in your stories, and what your kind of your real fan base is, because those are the ones that are checking in your stories, and the stuff disappears. So there's way less pressure than an actual just feed post that lives.
Yeah. All right. So then number three, when it comes to the most common mistakes that I see when it comes to music marketing, not being visual with your social media. So I need to see your beautiful face on all the stuff that you post. And if you're one of
Yeah.
these groups or bands that wears masks, I need to see your beautiful mask every time. Whatever the representation is of your face, we need to see it all the freaking time. And I use this example when like producers, they will post, instrumentals of their beats with like a little audio picture. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
who do you think's gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is the sickest beat? Like, I'm
You're
sure your
never gonna
stuff's great,
with
but I
hashtag beat maker.
But
Like, you're
but
just
but I promise you, if you posted that same audio with
yeah.
you, like if you're into fitness and you're doing like push-ups and you're like getting on my hustle today, love this new song I'm working on. Like just give some kind of
Yes.
visual so we can see you, or be in your studio. Like I said this to a producer today. I go, as soon as you're done with your song, turn around in your cool studio that you like lit up and it looks great. Take out your damn phone, do a selfie. Hey, look what I just did. I worked on. So we see your face, we hear the song, boom, you're done. Stop trying to overproduce things and let us see your face.
I'll tell you what, and if you don't have an incredible studio or a big lit up studio, like, don't be afraid of that. Like, that's actually could work for you. Go, I just made this super fire beat on this equipment that cost me $100. You know what I mean? Like, that actually can help you go viral. Be like, oh, this is my, studio desk. It's not very impressive, but listen to this beat that I just, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you can use your disadvantages with social media and make them work to your advantages. And one little pro tip for your social media: stop doing pictures of like your profile pictures of your Instagram where it's just like your hands on the keyboards or DJ decks, or you're so far away I can't even see you. Like, frame up for your little circle picture. Let's see what you do. Let's see who you are clearly. This is your business card. This is what people see, and kind of get their first impression is literally your profile pic.
Yeah. Love it. All right, guys. So, number one, you have to overcome your doubts. You can do this. And I think that as a little final pro tip, you know, there's a technique that I've even used. And what you do is you count your negative thoughts. So if you go, I think I'm stopping myself because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm lame and I'm just not going to
Mm-hmm.
do it. So this is just the negative thoughts that you're having. So you literally count the negative thoughts. You don't have to go to war with them. You don't have to judge them or whatever. You literally just like, oh, that was a negative thought. So you count them throughout the day. And what studies have shown is that by just simply counting them, you become aware of what your mind is doing. And just by becoming aware of it, you can take control of it. So number one, with the overcome your doubts. Two, Stop neglecting social media. Get your face on
Yeah.
there. Even if
Yeah.
you had made the great suggestion, stories. If you're showing up on stories, at least you're showing up for your followers. So do something. Three, you gotta be visual on social media. Just remember, music is a visual medium, right? The best way that we promote our music is with a music video, right? It's literally visual because people want to see your face. So show your face. Oh, right. I've not been doing this. Show your face. So, in the same like stories realm, I've actually been trying to get better at this, and my problem is that I've just been in too many accounts, and so I have option overwhelm, which is like I don't know where I should post because I have too many like profiles and things like that. So, I went today, and Miss Crystal Live is my kind of I would say my main hub. Like I
Mm.
consider Top Music Attorney, I consider Delgado Entertainment Law to be more of like my business hubs. So anyway, I go, okay, I'm gonna focus on Miss Crystal today. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna post all day. I'm gonna do all these things. So this morning I went to the gym. I had woken up at like 3:30, and then I got up at 4. I was like, all right, I guess the day is starting. Let's do it. And so I went to the gym, and it was like a really weak sauce workout because I'm just like exhausted. But I did it, and I took a picture and I posted my leg rep weight, 4 a.m. club, and then like it all just kind of went downhill from there. Because then I was like, oh, I'll do a cute like bathroom story and this and that, and then I got distracted, right? And then when I pulled out my phone to actually do something, I was like, ugh, this looks stupid, and then I didn't do it. So I broke the promise that I'd made to myself that I was going to follow through with this, which is unacceptable. So this is a work in progress for all of us.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And it gets hard when you're just trying to even think of things to post on social media, especially if you're an artist, because you feel like I need just to be promoting my music all the time. And that's honestly one of the things that you shouldn't be doing all the time, or you should be doing it in creative ways. You need to stop posting just, like she said, the waveform pictures. Like, I liked your thing. Like, I'm going to show my workout routine, but I'm going to have my beat or my new song playing in the background. I like that. This is what, whatever you're into, you need to give more of yourself to your audience, because unless if it's all just about like, you just want to make money from your music and you don't want to be seen, then go for like sync placements. Try to get your music in
Yeah.
TV and film, and that's the route that you go, because you don't need the social media for that. But
Yeah, I mean, even on our student huddle yesterday, one of the students had said part of his, revelations was that he doesn't want to be the front man, and that's totally okay, right? There's an exception for everything. And he's like, what I want to do is I want to get a singer. So now we have a different face for the group, and he goes, I love that. I love that. Perfect. Like, so if you know that it's not something that you want, it doesn't fit within that vision for yourself, then perfect. Don't do it. But if you are trying to be a successful artist, music producer, whatever, where you are the brand, like you got to put your face out there.
yeah.
All right. So, for the, kind of as we're wrapping up here, what I want you guys to tell me, so we're going to talk homework, right? We talked about possibly making this like a real going to school session. So, we're going to discuss your homework. I feel like I'm threatening you. We're working on this. Yeah, so for homework, talk to me about what you're working on this week. Drop a comment in the chat. What are you working on? What are you going to get done? Okay, so it's Thursday right now. We'll be back same time next week. Every Thursday, unless I change it. Every Thursday at 5 p.m. PST, we'll be here helping you with your music business. So let us know what you're doing.
Yeah, for
What are
sure.
you working on, that Orko?
I'll tell you what, I've been working on this new Miss Crystal music that's been coming out like crazy. We have like 3 songs. One is done, like ready to be, actually two are ready to be mastered. One I think is being mastered, one is about to go to
Yeah,
be
actually,
mastered.
I'll give you a little update on that. I got a text message from our mastering guy, so he's working on one of our originals, and this is possibly my favorite song of all time. It's just like I'm so excited for you guys to hear this song.
Wow. Wow.
Possibly. But anyway, so he texted me and he goes, "This song is so fucking." He was like good or cool or something like that, but he used the F word, and he doesn't use the cursey words very often. So I was just like, "Hell yeah, Love that.
That's great. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I actually don't even remember. I mean, he goes, "Oh, it's great," but yeah, I don't get a fucking,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
I'm
pretty
very,
excited. But that, and
very
then
excited.
these other things that when we release, there's gonna be, we're working on another series of covers. We'll go into more of it in the future, but these things are coming out really good. They're the dark pop kind of cinematic vibe. And the way we'll talk about it more because we'll be discussing marketing plans and kind of what we're doing and how you can be doing those things. And, all that is kind of coming. So I'm super, super stoked on that. And then we're getting into some music video stuff. So that's what I'm working on. I'm working on just wrapping up some of these things. I upload, make sure that if you haven't, seen it or gone to it yet, please go over to our Spotify or Apple, wherever you listen
Mm,
to the audio podcast. We are there. We are uploading stuff like every week. So if you can't just, tune in for these, we also have audio versions of our segments. So make sure you check those out too.
all
And
right,
one
for
more
those.
thing
Oh,
before I
oh,
go, and then
oh,
I'm gonna bounce
oh.
because I'm gonna bounce. But I
Yeah.
got one more thing that I just want to leave you guys with. If I don't know if anybody was watching Coachella over the weekend, over last weekend and the weekend before, they were streaming it on YouTube. Couchella. I'm all about it. I saw some incredible acts. Well, if you like those kind of concerts, just to plug because they are, my favorite artist and producer, Pharrell Williams, is throwing his Something in the Water festival, and that's going to be streaming on YouTube all weekend. So you can catch Pharrell and all of his friends joining for the show. I know like SWV is gonna be there, and like it's just nuts. Like 100 Gex is gonna be there, Lotto's gonna be there, Kid Cudi, Lil Durk, Lil Wayne. Like it's gonna be insane. Skrillex. So it'll be a cool show. Just giving you guys something to do for the weekend. But
There
I'm
you go. Well,
out.
thank you for joining us. And guys, I'm gonna come back to the chat because we're gonna do a homework recap for those of you who left your notes. Thank you, that Orko. So this isn't what you're doing this weekend, but I'm gonna make it. Oops. Let's go to this one. Eric is gonna lull for his homework and what he's gonna get done. So if you'd like to make a correction there, Eric, for your submission, you let me know. If you're not gonna lull, let me know. Jen's going to work on more frequent posts, I'm assuming. Raw jaw music. Let's see what we got here. This week I'm writing 3 songs, 2 hip hop and 1 rock song. Love it, love it, love it. Kind of getting into like the creative vibe sometimes can be a little challenging, so it's good to like set up time for it. You're like, I'm doing the business stuff, I'm setting up the LLC, I'm doing all this then, and then on Tuesdays I'm working on music. Okay. Elmo is working on his strength and his biceps, which is exciting. Love it. Ashley, what's up, Ashley? Did we start an hour early? Oh, no. Well, and let me say this. So, Ash, we last week did this for the first time. So, we are an hour earlier, and it's just one of those things like we'll post and just no one sees it because the algorithm suppresses the post. So you guys know the show now is 5 p.m. PST, and we'll try to do a better job over the next week just to make sure that that's super clear because I know we did change it. But you can watch it on the repeat. All right, Eric is changing his answer. He's not lolling anymore. He's gonna edit more videos, but he's sad about it. He's a sad little boy about it. And Rich House Reviews is going to say hi and wave of us. Hello, friend. All right, guys. So, really love your faces. Appreciate you being here. It was awesome because I got great questions, and it's so fun for me. As an entertainment attorney of 9 years, I've done this a long time, and we have so many exciting things happening. I'm like in the middle of closing a multi-million-dollar music catalog sale, and so there's cool stuff that I do with the law firm. There's even cooler stuff that I get to do with you guys and the students that I work with in the program. So if anyone is needing some help, always feel free to DM me on Top Music Attorney Instagram. I'm getting a message from Mr. Producer saying that we're going to watch together. We're going to watch The Trick is to Keep Breathing, and you guys asked for an additional gavel. So, John, thank you very much. I'm going to give you the gavel. I feel like you're one of the people that also likes this. So, without further ado, I love your faces. Thank you very much for being here. I will see you next Thursday at 5 p.m. PST. I'm Top Music Attorney, Miss Krystle, and we're out. We're trying something. I don't know.